Why are we talking about, creating effective study habits? Is that we need to make studying fun and entertaining for ourselves because, we find ourselves here stuck with it. So we might as well just try to make ways to make it better and better for ourselves and also to do well and pass our courses and stuff like that. Okay. Let me clear myself. You know, so welcome to the channel. So this is the first time I actually have a solo session. It's actually feeling very weird. I'm just here all alone because normally when I do these sessions, I actually have somebody that is a guest and we're just having a conversation and all of those type of things. But I'm riding solo. But my name is Ben Mahudu, and maybe today I get a chance to explain what is this whole channel all about, because I think I've never got a chance to actually explain what the channel is all about. And some people keep on asking me, but what is your channel all about? We see you doing what you do, but what is actually exactly all about? So this channel is about student success and careers. Student success in a sense that I'm in the student space. I'm a lecturer by profession, so I work and deal with students almost every day. You get what I'm saying? And there are certain things that I see, certain things that I have opinions over, and there are certain things that I'm very much concerned and I'm very much obsessed with student success. I want students to succeed. In other words, I want students to come in, do their courses and everything like that, and do well in their courses and actually graduate. And it's one of, I've been a student myself, so some of these issues that I encountered when I got to university, and nobody was there to talk to me about these issues. So, while they say that be the mentor that you have never had, you get what I'm saying? So, hence the channel and everything that is happening in this. So, I invite guests or people who are well versed into these topics so that we can actually discuss them and everything like that. The idea is to make you the cost chower. That is you, the student who's watching this, to be the cost chower. That is to do well in your studies and to get very top marks as possible so that you can actually do well. So the other part is that, I profile different careers and different courses, and also for career development as well, because I, learned that actually there is a lot of sometimes misinformation and disinformation about certain careers. So having people who actually are in those careers actually helps so that they can give us the deep dive into those careers and everything like this. So that's what we do in this podcast. Podcast, YouTube channel thing. So yeah. So today that I'm riding solo, and I don't know how this will go, but anyway, it's kind of weird. I'm not used to talking. I'm not used to talking to myself. Yeah. So today I want to talk about creating the effective study habits. Creating effective study habits. As students, one of the things that you have to do as a student, and it's almost like a job, is to study. You have to study, and you have to do it every day. Well, depending on how you do it and stuff like that. But the mandate for you as a student is to study. And studying sometimes can be difficult. It can be a difficult task because the subject and the courses that we are studying are actually very difficult and everything like that. But it's an activity that we have to do. So we have to find a way to, make it work for us, whatever it takes and everything like that. And having engaged with a lot of students and also having been a student myself, there are many ways to go about it. And some people have very, interesting ways in how they study. But studying is a habit, it's actually a habit. Or we can make it a habit if it's not a habit. Habit, the word habit, I think is one of the words that we use, but sometimes you don't know the definition of a habit. It's just one of those, you get what I'm saying? So, but a habit is something that you do over and over again, it's almost like it's automated in you, becomes a routine of some sort that you do, automatically, if that word exists. But Wikipedia defines a habit to be: a habit is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. That's how Wikipedia defines it, and well, I like the definition. And why are we talking about creating effective study habits? Is that we need to make studying fun and entertaining for ourselves, because we find ourselves here stuck with it, so we might as well just try to make ways to make it better and better for ourselves, and also to do well and pass our courses and stuff like that. So I'm going to be making reference to 2 books here. So I've been reading these books on habit and how habits are formed, how habits are reformed, and how habits are structured, and how can they be destructured, and how they can be broken down, and how to destruct them and stuff like that. So there's a book called, I'm not sure if this is going to be very visible, but this book is by James Clear. It's called Atomic Habits. It's one of the books that I've been doing. Let me see if it's going to, yeah, this is the book. And the other book on habits that I've been reading on is this one, The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. I love these 2 books because I'm very much obsessed with human behavior. I study people, and for many reasons. So I may not sound very I don't know how this can sound, but I study people. I love, understanding human behavior, both from an economic perspective, there is behavioral economics, to psychology and everything like that, everything to do with people. I think maybe because I find myself working with people every day, I gotta do this, and stuff like that. In fact, almost all the things that I'm very interested in, they actually deal with people, you get what I'm saying? So hence I'm very obsessed with this. So the books are about habits and how habits are formed and all of those type of things, and it made me to actually understand habits much better. And it's important to understand habits because if you do, you are able, there are certain habits that we have which are not good for us, which are bad, and we're addicted to those habits, and they are not actually taking us anywhere. I was talking to students some couple of days, and they were talking about time management and them not having enough time, and the workload is too much and everything like that. And I was like, I asked why do you spend most of your time? And most of the students said they spend most of their time on their phone, on social media. So social media is actually taking a lot of their time. So it means that social media to the students has become a habit. And because it has become a habit, they're addicted to it. And now it's taking the other times of things that they were supposed to be doing, which are actually very much important. Well, I'm not saying that everyone who has time management issues is because of that, but that was just one of the factors that the students had and that we had to actually look into and deal with it. So I'm sorry about that. So I recorded the other part of the video the other day, and it actually had some problems. So we have to continue, here. That's the beauty thing about this. You can edit out stuff and do this and this and that. So now, I'm even having some script here so that I don't forget some of the things. So now, how are habits formed? So since you've spoken about, what I've spoken about in the other part, so now let's get into how are habits formed, right? So there is something called the habit loop, So the habit loop is actually how habits are formed. So it has 3 components. So the first one is actually the cue or the trigger. Not the cures in the cure, but the cures in the cure. You get what I'm saying? Not the cures in a disease, but the cure, the trigger. You get what I'm saying? And after that, we have the process. The process is when actually you do the habit, and then we have the reward, and the reward from doing the habit. So basically, the cue and the reward are actually what makes a habit to be, to be addictive, or to crave the habit, or to make the habit to stick. So For example, I mean, nowadays we're actually doing social media, or we use social media, not doing social media, but using social media a lot, and it has become a habit for some people, to extend that when somebody wakes up, the first thing that they do is to actually go on social media, and not to say that there is something wrong with that. It becomes wrong if it gets into your way of doing things, and stuff like that, whereby now you can't be productive anymore because you're on this. But social media, if you look into it, it being habit, it also have those three components. I'm just making an example with it because it's something that we mostly do, especially as young people who are on social media and stuff like that. I remember talking to somebody who said that they go on social media because of they don't have friends, So when I was thinking about it, I was like, probably the trigger for this person might be that they are lonely. And now when they are lonely, then they're triggered to go on social media. And then that's where they start the process. And then the reward would then be them feeling that they connect with people, or feeling that there's some connection of some sort, when you interact with the people on social media, so there's always a reward, or maybe the feel good when people like your picture on social media and it makes you feel good. Maybe that can be the case for this person. I'm not saying that is the case, but I'm just speculating from the habit loop process that I'm talking about right now, right? So now, how do we take that and put that into study? Because studying is a habit, and if you actually go online and Google for, study habits, highly effective. I mean, there is this trend, or there's this phrase that I see it almost all the time when I go to these things. It's called highly effective habits of top achievers or top students or something like that, and they list the habits of the top achieving students, things like being organized, minimizing distractions and stuff like that. Those are some of the study habits that these people have, so you can actually curate your own study habits. I know for some people, they would study with music. It's a habit, to study with music. Some people would study maybe at night, they study better. Some people would actually, study in nature. It actually has some vibe to it and everything like that. Some people, they need to organize the room to look good, so that the environment and everything like that, so forth and so on, right? So, but I'm about, how do we make those habits to stick? How do you create effective study habits? And now that you've created them, how do you make them stick? I normally hear of people who say that, I make a timetable, and after making the timetable, I can't follow it, meaning that they have an issue with sticking to a certain habit. And today not today, but now we're talking about how to make that habit to stick, right? So with any habit, studying included, to make it to stick, you must make sure that you have the right triggers and you have the good rewards. In fact, all the habits that we are very addicted to, for a lack of a better word, or all the habits that we do, repeatedly or regularly, those habits, they actually have good rewards and they have good triggers. You get what I'm saying? That's why people work, because there is a reward. You get what I'm saying? And there is a trigger. Maybe the trigger might be that, your dream car or whatever the issue is, then the reward is actually you getting paid. Things that have a good trigger and a good reward, they actually stick. They become habits. We do them all the time. That's why for some things to do them is quite difficult. For example, it's always difficult to go to the gym and start exercising. People who start exercising is difficult at first because it is a task that the reward is very long term. It's not immediate. So because of that, then, that habit becomes difficult for you to actually stick to it, or for your brain to actually stick to it and stuff like that. But for other things like, There are many examples. I'm trying to think of one that maybe can actually make sense. For example, coffee. Some people have a habit of drinking coffee, and because the reward is immediate after drinking coffee, the caffeine, when it gets into your system, it lights it up, and then you feel this energetic and everything like that. Some people have a habit of drinking, soft drinks or fizzy drinks, because the sugar, when it gets to your system, automatically your insulin shoots up and stuff like that. And there's some brain activities, you become sort of alert, not alert, maybe that's not the word to use, but you have this, flash of energy, and you become energetic and stuff like that. And we can talk about many other habits that we have, but every habit actually has a very good, trigger, and actually has a very good reward. The process is in between. The process is what we do. You get what I'm saying? So if we are to make good study habits, we also must think about that. We must also think about our triggers and our reward. The process is in between. That's where we do the studying. Now, the thing about certain habits is that the triggers are actually they are not automatically there. You have to create them, and the rewards sometimes are not automatically there. You have to create the rewards. I used to have a student who used to tell me that after finishing every session of a study, he would actually reward himself with something. Maybe it might be going for a walk. Maybe it might be getting an ice cream. Maybe it might be go on social media. Whatever that is, he always rewards himself. And I thought about it. I was like, that's actually a very good way to go about it, especially after I've learned about the habit loop and everything like that, right? So now, if you don't have, so the point is, you need to, for habits that you want to stick, you need to manage your triggers and manage your rewards, meaning that you need to create your triggers. For example, for somebody who wants to start exercising, maybe one they can create is actually putting their gym clothes just next to their bed so that it reminds them, it becomes a trigger, or putting a picture of, the kind of body that they want to build and stuff like that. And when it's there, and then when they see it, it can trigger them, to be like, actually, I must do this. And then maybe they can have their rewards and stuff like that. The same with studying, put in your triggers right. I know for some people, it will be in the library. When they go to the library, when they see other people studying, it triggers them to study. For some people, it might be something else. For some people, it might be maybe looking at their dream car, and it just triggers them to study. Maybe that's their goal. Whatever your triggers are, find something that triggers you, that you want to actually do this. You want to study, I remember for me, one of the things that I used to have this picture of my family, and every time I look at that picture and I look at my mom, I look at my siblings, I would have this thing of like, you know what? I want to study. I want to do this for my family. I want to take care of my family, those kind of things. You get what I'm saying? So that used to trigger me a lot to study. So find something that can trigger you. And then after that, you go through the process of studying. That's when, so the trigger is more like, it just gives you that vavavoom, like boom, and you'd be like, let's do this, and then reward yourself. Put a reward. And the reward doesn't have to be something financial or something monetary. The reward can be something like, okay, I'm done studying. I can watch that movie. The aim here is to make studying to be very, very fun. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that now we're studying, we have to be serious and everything. Like, you can still watch your movies. You can still go on Netflix. You can still be on social media, but use those things as a reward. So once you do that, you psych your mind into this model of thinking. And now your mind becomes so concentrative. And when you study, because you have the reward at the end of the day, there is something called the dopamine effect, or there is a hormone called dopamine, which gets secreted when your brain is expecting a reward. And that's actually what makes you to be motivated. So once you think of a reward, then your brain starts to secrete dopamine, and then is the hormone that actually gets you motivated. And then you are good to go. You are good to be do the work and everything like that and stuff like. It's more like you're trying to hack your brain or hack yourself, you know. So that is what I wanted to say about this, and I hope to see you on the other segment or on the other segments. But comment, like, and subscribe if you like the content, and see you next time. Take care.